Introduction, expanded. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sculpted Grace, a place where ancient Stoic wisdom meets modern life, modern relationships, and modern challenges. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever wanted someone to miss you so deeply that your absence feels loud to them? That when you're not around, there's a quiet space where your presence used to be and they feel it. If that question resonates, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're not talking about manipulation. We're not talking about mind games or emotional tricks. We're talking about something far more powerful and far more lasting, becoming the kind of person whose presence naturally lingers, whose absence is felt without effort, and whose character creates longing without chasing. The Stoics understood something timeless: people don't miss neediness, noise, or chaos. They miss strength. They miss calm. They miss depth. Seneca said it perfectly: absence sharpens love. Presence strengthens it. But that sharpening only happens when presence itself has weight. In this video, we'll explore 15 Stoic lessons that don't just make someone think about you, they change how people experience you. These principles transform you from someone who hopes to be remembered into someone who is quietly unforgettable. And remember, don't skip any part. Each lesson builds on the last. Miss one, and the structure weakens. But follow them fully, and you'll notice something shift, not just in others, but in yourself. Before we begin, here's a simple commitment. Drop a comment below with the words "on their mind tomorrow." It's short, intentional, and symbolic. A reminder that you're choosing growth, discipline, and presence. Now, take a breath. Let's begin. Lesson 1: Self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency is where everything begins. Without it, nothing else holds. You might wonder how being independent could possibly make someone miss you more. Shouldn't closeness come from constant togetherness? Stoicism answers this clearly: dependence weakens desire, while wholeness strengthens it. When you are self-sufficient, you stop leaning on another person to regulate your emotions, validate your worth, or give your life meaning. You become someone who adds to a relationship rather than needs it to survive. That shift alone changes how you're perceived. You're no longer someone who drains energy, you become someone who brings it. Think about the difference between someone who collapses when you're gone and someone who continues living fully. The second person sparks curiosity. Their absence isn't heavy, it's intriguing. People begin to wonder what you're doing, what you're building, what world you step back into when they're not watching. In practical terms, self-sufficiency looks like maintaining your routines, goals, and interests regardless of who is in your life. You don't abandon your passions to accommodate someone else. You don't pause your growth waiting for attention. You keep moving forward. And when you do that, something powerful happens. Your presence becomes a choice, not a default. And what is chosen is always missed more than what is expected. Lesson 2: Emotional control. Emotional control is one of the most misunderstood Stoic principles. People often think it means being cold or detached, but in truth, it means being stable. And stability is deeply attractive. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." When you internalize this, your reactions change. You stop letting every word, delay, or disagreement shake you. You become calm where others are reactive. And calm creates gravity. Imagine disagreements. Most people escalate, raising voices, defending egos, demanding reassurance. But you remain composed. You listen. You respond instead of react. That restraint signals strength. It tells the other person, this person is not ruled by impulse. When you're emotionally controlled, your affection carries more weight. Because it isn't frantic. It isn't inconsistent. It's intentional. And when you're gone, people miss the safety of that emotional steadiness. Practically, this means pausing before responding. Letting emotions settle before speaking. Choosing clarity over intensity. Over time, people begin associating you with peace, and peace is always missed when it's gone. Lesson 3: Intentional communication. Words can either dilute your presence or deepen it. Stoicism teaches that speech should be deliberate, not excessive, not careless, not reactive. Seneca advised, "Speak so that you may speak again." Meaning, leave room for return. Intentional communication means you don't speak just to fill silence. You speak to connect, clarify, and add meaning. You choose your words carefully, knowing that what you say often lingers long after the conversation ends. Think about the people you remember most. It's rarely the ones who talked the most, it's the ones who said the right thing at the right moment. Their words echo. They replay in your mind. In relationships, this means fewer messages but better ones. Fewer explanations but clearer intentions. When you speak, you leave an impression instead of noise. When you're absent, your words return in memory. Your tone. Your phrasing. Your pauses. And slowly, people realize they don't just miss talking to you, they miss how it felt to be understood by you. Lesson 4: Acceptance of absence. One of the greatest paradoxes in Stoic philosophy is this: the more comfortable you are with absence, the more powerful your presence becomes. Most people fear distance. They interpret space as rejection, silence as danger, and time apart as something that must be filled immediately. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Absence, when accepted calmly, sharpens emotional connection instead of weakening it. Epictetus taught that freedom comes from releasing our need to control outcomes, and that includes controlling how often someone is present in our lives. When you accept absence without anxiety, you signal security. You show that your inner stability does not collapse when someone is not physically or emotionally near you. This steadiness creates trust, and trust deepens desire. In practical terms, acceptance of absence means resisting the urge to constantly check in, explain yourself, or seek reassurance. It means allowing silence to exist without panic. When you don't rush to fill every gap, something remarkable happens. The other person begins to feel your absence more acutely. Silence turns into curiosity. Distance turns into anticipation. When you reunite after space, the connection feels renewed instead of depleted. Conversations carry more energy. Presence feels intentional. And slowly, they begin to associate your absence not with loss, but with longing, a longing that draws them back to you naturally. Lesson 5: Mindfulness in Interaction. Being unforgettable is not about how often you're present, it's about how deeply you're present. Mindfulness in interaction is the Stoic art of giving someone your full attention without distraction, impatience, or divided focus. In a world of constant interruption, this level of presence is rare and therefore deeply memorable. Marcus Aurelius advised living each moment as if it were your last, and when applied to relationships, this means treating each interaction as meaningful. You listen fully. You observe closely. You respond thoughtfully. You're not waiting for your turn to speak, you're engaged in understanding. Think about how it feels when someone is truly present with you. Their eyes don't wander. Their phone stays out of reach. Their responses feel considered. That feeling leaves a mark. And when they leave, the contrast is immediate. You feel the absence not of noise, but of attention. Practically, mindfulness means slowing down. Asking better questions. Noticing tone shifts, pauses, and emotions beneath words. When you do this consistently, people begin to associate you with emotional depth. And when you're not around, they miss being fully seen, a feeling few people know how to create. Lesson 6: Consistency in Communication. Consistency builds emotional safety, and emotional safety builds attachment. Stoicism values reliability, not excess, not obsession, but steadiness. Consistency in communication doesn't mean constant messaging. It means predictable presence without pressure. Seneca believed that regularity reflects wisdom. When your communication follows a stable rhythm, it becomes part of someone's emotional environment. A good morning message. A thoughtful check-in. A familiar closing at night. These patterns quietly integrate you into their daily life. Now here's where the Stoic insight becomes powerful. When something consistent is absent, its absence is felt immediately. When your reliable presence pauses, it creates a noticeable gap. Not anxiety but awareness. They realize how much your communication anchored their day. In practice, consistency means showing up when you say you will. Responding with intention rather than impulse. Not disappearing unpredictably or overwhelming with constant contact. Over time, people come to trust your presence, and trust turns into longing when that presence is missing. They don't miss noise. They miss reliability. Lesson 7: Purposeful Living. A person without direction often becomes emotionally dependent on others to provide meaning. Stoicism offers a different path, one where purpose anchors your identity, regardless of who is present in your life. When you live with purpose, You stop waiting to be completed by someone else. Instead, you invite others to walk alongside a journey that is already in motion. Seneca warned that when a person does not know which harbor they are sailing toward, no wind is favorable. Purpose gives you that harbor. It could be your work, your creative pursuits, your physical discipline, or your service to others. Whatever it is, it gives shape to your days and momentum to your life. When you speak about your purpose, your energy shifts. Your voice carries conviction. Your presence feels alive. People notice when someone is building something meaningful and they feel drawn to that movement. When you're absent, they miss not just you, but the inspiration you brought into their world. In practical terms, purposeful living means structuring your time intentionally. You pursue goals even when no one is watching. You share your progress without boasting. And when you're not around, people sense the gap because purpose is contagious, and its absence is noticeable. Lesson 8: Moderation in Emotion. Stoicism does not ask you to suppress emotion, it teaches you to measure it. Emotional moderation creates balance, and balance creates attraction. When emotions run unchecked, relationships become unstable. When emotions are moderated, relationships feel safe. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that responding with calm rather than impulse is a mark of strength. In emotional moderation, you express care without suffocation, concern without control, and passion without chaos. This balance allows desire to grow instead of burnout. Imagine disagreements handled without explosions. Affection expressed without desperation. Silence endured without fear. These behaviors create emotional clarity. Your partner knows where you stand and they trust your stability. When you're absent, they miss that calm emotional climate. They miss how being around you felt peaceful rather than exhausting. Moderation leaves room for longing, because nothing was overused or overstated. In love, restraint often speaks louder than intensity. Lesson 9: Resilience in Adversity. Resilience is one of the most powerful qualities Stoicism cultivates and one of the most deeply missed when absent. Life is unpredictable. Challenges are unavoidable. What sets you apart is how you respond when things go wrong. Seneca said that a person is perfected through trials, just as a gem is polished through friction. When you face hardship without collapsing, complaining, or blaming, people notice. Your composure becomes reassurance. Your steadiness becomes safety. Imagine facing loss, stress, or disappointment with quiet determination. You don't deny difficulty, but you don't let it define you. You look for solutions. You keep moving forward. That strength leaves a lasting imprint on those around you. When you're not present, people miss that sense of stability. They miss the confidence they felt knowing you could handle pressure. Resilience turns you into a pillar, and pillars are always noticed when they're gone. Lesson 10: Consistency in Character. Consistency in character is one of the rarest and most stabilizing traits a person can possess. Stoicism places enormous importance on being the same person in private as you are in public, in ease as you are in difficulty. When your values do not fluctuate with circumstance, people feel safe around you and safety deepens emotional bonds. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is the essence of consistent character. You act according to principle, not mood. You keep your word. You treat others with respect even when it's inconvenient. Over time, this reliability becomes a defining feature of your presence. In relationships, consistency means your behavior doesn't swing unpredictably. Your care doesn't vanish when stressed. Your standards don't collapse when tempted. People know what to expect from you, and that predictability creates trust rather than boredom. When you're absent, that trust becomes noticeable by its absence. They miss the steadiness you brought, the calm certainty of knowing where they stood with you. Consistent character turns you into an emotional anchor, and anchors are deeply missed when they're gone. Lesson 11, Restraint in Desire. Desire, when unrestrained, quickly turns into pressure. Stoicism teaches restraint not to diminish passion, but to refine it. When you want someone without clinging, your desire feels chosen rather than compulsive, and that difference is powerful. Restraint communicates abundance. It shows that your happiness does not hinge on constant proximity or validation. You enjoy connection, but you don't chase it. You value intimacy, but you don't force it. This self-control transforms desire into something calm, confident, and magnetic. In practice, restraint means allowing longing to exist without rushing to satisfy it. You don't demand immediate replies. You don't over-explain feelings. You let moments breathe. And in that space, anticipation grows. When you're not around, people feel that restrained desire as a pull rather than a push. They miss you not because you demanded attention, but because you allowed desire to mature naturally. What is not grasped is often held in the mind far longer. Lesson 12, Dignity in Silence. Silence is one of the most underestimated Stoic tools. In a world where everyone rushes to explain, defend, or justify themselves, dignified silence signals confidence. It shows you don't need constant validation to stand firm. Marcus Aurelius advised restraint in speech, reminding us that not every thought deserves expression. When you speak less, your words gain weight. When you remain silent, people fill the space with their own reflections, often thinking about you. Dignity in silence does not mean emotional withdrawal. It means knowing when words add value and when they dilute presence. You don't argue unnecessarily. You don't chase closure. You allow others to sit with uncertainty. When you're absent, this silence lingers. People replay conversations. They wonder what you meant, what you felt, what you saw. Silence becomes memory, and memory becomes longing. Few things are missed more than someone whose quiet carried meaning. Lesson 13, Self-respect above attachment. One of the most difficult Stoic lessons to live by, and one of the most transformative, is placing self-respect above attachment. Many people fear that holding firm boundaries will push others away. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Without self-respect, attachment loses its dignity, and love becomes fragile. Seneca warned that those who are desperate to be loved often lose respect in the process. When you abandon your values to keep someone close, you quietly teach them how to treat you. But when you stand by your principles calmly, without anger, you signal strength. And strength commands respect. Self-respect shows itself in small, quiet ways. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't beg for clarity. You don't shrink yourself to be chosen. Instead, you communicate your standards through consistent action. You walk away from what diminishes you without drama or resentment. When you're absent, people miss that integrity. They miss the way you carried yourself. The way your presence felt grounded, not needy. Self-respect leaves a lasting impression because while affection fades, dignity is remembered. Lesson 14, Calm Confidence. Calm confidence is one of the most magnetic Stoic qualities. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't announce itself. It simply exists steady, grounded, and unshaken. Unlike loud confidence, which demands recognition, calm confidence invites trust. Marcus Aurelius described the mind at peace as a place of refuge. When you embody calm confidence, people feel that refuge when they're around you. Your presence lowers emotional noise. Your reactions are measured. Your energy feels secure. In everyday life, calm confidence appears in how you handle uncertainty. You don't rush decisions out of fear. You don't chase reassurance. You trust yourself to respond when the moment arrives. This patience communicates deep inner stability. When you're not around, people notice the difference. They miss how safe it felt to be near you. They miss the steadiness you brought into conversations and situations. Calm confidence doesn't shout, but its absence is unmistakable. Lesson 15, Acceptance without clinging. This final lesson ties all the others together. Acceptance without clinging is the Stoic art of loving deeply while remaining free. It means caring fully without trying to possess, control, or trap what you value. Epictetus taught that suffering arises when we try to own what is not ours to own. People are not possessions. Moments are not permanent. When you accept this truth, your love becomes lighter and paradoxically, stronger. Acceptance without clinging looks like allowing people to be themselves. You don't monitor their movements. You don't fear distance. You trust connection rather than forcing it. Your presence becomes a space of freedom rather than pressure. When you're absent, people miss that freedom. They miss how easy it felt to be around you. How natural the connection was. Love without fear leaves the deepest imprint because it feels rare, safe, and real. Expanded conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what Stoicism truly offers. These principles are not tricks. They are not strategies to control others. They are disciplines that shape who you become, and who you become determines how you are remembered. People don't miss intensity forever. They don't miss chaos. They don't miss pressure. They miss calm. They miss strength. They miss presence. Here at Sculpted Grace, we believe Stoicism is about sculpting a character so solid that your presence adds value wherever it goes. When you live these lessons, you stop chasing attention and start attracting remembrance. Your absence becomes meaningful because your presence was meaningful first. Before you go, honor the commitment you made at the beginning. Drop a comment below with the words "on their mind tomorrow." Not as a promise to someone else but as a promise to yourself. A promise to live with discipline, dignity, and depth. If this message resonated, like the video and subscribe to Sculpted Grace. Your support helps us continue sharing timeless wisdom for modern life. Remember this. Being unforgettable is not about doing more. It's about being more. More grounded. More present. More true to yourself.